Welcome to On Tapes, a podcast about the physical medium of VHS tapes. I'm Rowan, and each week my co-host Mark and I will look at 3 tapes. One that I have chosen, one that he has chosen, and a third tape that we pick at random. What do we have today, Mark?
Today, Rowan, we have Whit Stillman's The Last Days of Disco from 1998. We have Martin Scorsese's After Hours from 1985. And the collection of music videos from artists that were featured at the 1996 Brit Awards.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
And we begin with?
Last Days of Disco.
Cool, okay. Do you want to take it away and describe the film?
Well, the plot is basically 2 girls, Chloe Sevigny and Kate Beckinsale. Chloe Sevigny is quite introverted but nice, and Kate Beckinsale is extroverted and narcissistic. And it's about their adventures in the New York club scene, disco scene, in the early 80s.
In the last days of disco.
The last days of disco.
Can we talk about the box? Can we start just at the box?
Yeah, sure.
What have you bought for us?
It's a bit of a mess.
It's covered in dirt on the spine, and the side of it is also cracked. Oh, the bottom's cracked too.
Yeah, far cry from the cleanliness of Whit Stillman's filmmaking.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. Really bulky.
Yeah, it's one of these big box ones. You'll see the comparison with it beside the other tapes we have today. But I've got a couple other tapes that are in big boxes like this. And I don't particularly prefer them.
Yeah.
I like a good compact box, I guess.
The quotes at the back are from the Daily Telegraph and the Financial Times.
Good stuff.
I don't like newspaper critics when they're on boxes.
Oh,
Don't trust them.
That's the thing with VHS tapes. You'll see on all of these, it's all newspapers.
I guess that's more reliable than, 5 stars from Nuts magazine.
Oh, I'm sure over the course of this podcast we'll find a tape that has been reviewed in Nuts magazine or Zoo or one of those. So the tape itself, how does the actual tape begin?
It begins with a classic, now established anti-piracy advert.
Yup.
With the train spotting video thing.
Yep, classic.
Classic.
Hope to see that show up more.
And then
we'll know every time it does.
A lot of fun features at the start of this tape, isn't there?
Oh, there's features. I don't know if they're fun features.
There's the closed caption decoder.
Yeah.
That if you want subtitles with this, you have to buy a separate box and plug it into the TV, and it'll give you closed captions. That's very fun. And then it's followed by an advert for, I don't know what it's called.
Digital
versatile discs.
This could have been, yeah.
They're like laser discs, but you put them in the video player.
Small, maybe the size of fit in your hand.
Yeah, I guess they have movies on them.
Yeah,
and they have weird games on them.
Apparently,
don't really know what the point is.
Apparently, it's like the cinema experience, but in your home.
I don't think that'll take off. I'm very sceptical, to be quite honest with you.
No, I'll stick with my trusty VHS tapes for now. The trailers at the start of here, I think, are meant to be targeted towards DVD buyers.
Yeah.
The trailers are Lethal Weapon 4, A Perfect Murder, The Negotiator, and Practical Magic. And in between all those, we have various adverts. One for Oxygen.
Yeah.
And another for a chocolate bar called a Flight Bar.
Which is, I believe, half fat.
So,
and it involves a woman getting really angry that this hasn't been invented until now.
Have you ever heard of a Flight Bar?
No. It looked like a shit flake.
Well, can I read you the Wikipedia page for a Flight Bar? Flight was a chocolate bar manufactured by Mars Incorporated, weighing 45 grams. The product was introduced in 1996, so right enough, it was new on the market when this came out. Each bar came wrapped in 2 individual halves. It consisted of a chocolatey, whipped, nougat-style centre coated in milk chocolate. It was essentially the same as a UK Milky Way bar before the filling in Milky Way bars was changed from chocolate to vanilla flavour in 1993. The bar was discontinued in 2015.
Probably for good reason.
Yeah.
It sounds awful.
Yeah.
And then we get
moving on.
Then we get the trailer for The Century Collection, which is all the favourite films that your dad loves.
Narrated by Jonathan Ross.
The Great Escape, Towering Inferno, Space Jam. All the classic film buff films.
It's interesting when you think about the way these tapes were released, because the front of After Hours has a similar thing.
We'll get to that. I've got comments about that.
Yeah. But the way they market them is like, oh, these old films are now coming to tape.
Yeah.
Where you don't get that anymore. It's just like, oh, so-and-so's on Blu-ray.
Despite the fact that, as we saw, there was another medium about to come and take over.
Yeah, get them all on VHS while you can. Because they're hard to find now.
You'll never get them on digital versatile disc.
No. They only have the high-quality movies come to that.
I enjoyed when they referred to some films having scenes of violence, and then it cut to Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man.
Good stuff.
Big fan of that film. Shall we get into the film?
Yeah, one other thing I'd like to note right before the film starts is the certification warning from the Video Standards Council.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, that was so familiar to me, but because I was used to watching VHS tapes from when I was younger, I'd never seen one that had a 15 at the beginning. It was always like U or PG.
This film has been rated U for Universal.
Yup. That's burned into my mind. So when I saw this, I was like, whoa, 15? Am I old enough for this? Let me check. Let me ask my mum.
So getting into the film, two girls who have just graduated from university and who now work in an advertising firm and are from very wealthy...
No, they're not. They're in publishing.
Oh, yeah. Two girls who have just graduated from university and who now work for a publishing firm and are from very wealthy upper middle class backgrounds. Their experiences in the fading days of the New York disco scene and their interactions with various yuppies who were involved in that.
So we begin at the club, which I don't think ever gets a name, does it?
No.
They constantly refer to it as a club, and it's this...
Kind of a Studio 54 type thing.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of, and it is kind of the central hub for all the plot going on.
Yeah.
They go to it maybe 5 or 6 times throughout the film. They keep revisiting it.
And throughout the course of the film, less and less people are on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Except for one guy who I noticed. There's this guy in a tight silver shirt.
Right.
Who is, even when they go to the club at the end, and there's like 10 people on the dance floor, he's still there, just dancing away.
Where's his story? Where's that film?
It would have been interesting. So the film is essentially like a comedy of manners in like your late 19th century, early 20th century style. Kind of an Edith Wharton, Oscar Wilde type thing. I think this film's been compared to The Importance of Being Earnest.
Right.
Just in terms of how it's a bunch of rich characters.
I mean, that's the Whit Stillman thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's from that background. I know people have discussed his politics a lot, because I think he sort of leans centre-right.
Okay.
But kind of like an upstate New York conservative.
Oh, this was such a New York film.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it. Both these films kind of work, but this specifically struck me as like your snobbier side of New York.
Definitely. I think a lot of people think that Stillman is sort of satirising that milieu, but I think it's kind of...
It's just all he knows.
I think it's just all he knows, and I think there's a lot of sincerity that people maybe didn't appreciate in the 90s.
There's a lot of obsession with college in this film.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, just the fact that it's all these post-grads kicking about, reminded me of the Noah Baumbach film Kicking and Screaming. It plays similarly to that, but with a set of disco.
I would definitely say Stillman is like the midpoint between the Woody Allen Baumbach continuum.
Fair enough, yeah, I can see that.
Well, the theme of this film is kind of yuppies are people too.
Yes. There's a scene where they discuss, what is a yuppie? Is that even a real thing?
They are, though. They're definitely yuppies.
The blokes in this film all look the same.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the yuppies from American Psycho, in that I can't tell them apart for half the film. By the end, I was like, okay, I know who everyone is, but it's so hard to distinguish them. Yeah,
they're all like the same character. There's the guy who's the manager of the club, who keeps getting in trouble with his boss because he keeps letting in these advertising guys. And I guess the manager wants to keep the club authentic and keep it to disco guys.
Yeah. One thing I noticed when watching this film, and it's kind of a thing throughout all films that focus on disco, and all medium, honestly, is that there seems to be only like 30 or so songs that are remembered from the disco period. And every time a piece of media is centered around disco, they just play the same songs to be like, this is disco. This is the disco you know.
Le Freak. Tidy's High.
Yeah, not so much Tidy's High, but Google this film's soundtrack and it's that. Like, they hit every cliche track in this film.
I think it works.
It does, but it's just kind of like, they never step outside that, which kind of makes it disco more of a joke, because there's only 30 songs in the genre that are, I guess, worth remembering.
It feels like a very limited scene by the end of the film, as these characters kind of go off and do their own things. They're all pretty unbearable, though.
Yeah.
but kind of likable. I mean, the main guy, Des, is his thing throughout the film is that he manipulates women.
And
But he's kind of a nice guy as well. And he's kind of coming to terms with whether or not he's a bad person.
Yeah, or whether or not he's a drug addict as well.
Yeah, that too. His thing is that he pretends to be gay so he can break up with women.
Yes. How do you feel about that?
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I guess you wouldn't get that kind of sort of ambiguity a lot these days.
Mm-hmm. You wanted characters to be black and white. You don't like your shades of grey, do you?
No, I hate that. They should make it clear that he's a bad person because I can't think for myself.
Who are my heroes in this film?
Is it Chloe? Well, it is Chloe Sevigny. She's the most sympathetic character. Although, interestingly, she's really playing against type in this. Because at the time, she'd been characterised as like... Well, she'd just come off Kids. She was like downtown Manhattan.
Was she? What? Did she? That was 95.
Well, and... well, just her stuff with Harmony Korine in general. She was kind of associated with like edginess and downtown Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. So to have her playing like the nice upper middle class girl was kind of a change.
True. I can see that.
Her writer, she's really good in this film. She acts a lot with her eyes because she's quite a passive character.
Yeah.
But you can usually tell sort of what she's feeling. Or there's kind of an ambiguity there in how she acts. It's very non-verbal.
It's your classic main character being less vocal than a lot of the cast surrounding them.
Well, she's our identification character.
Yeah, she is.
Did you like... I know you like Matt Ross.
Oh, God, yeah.
The guy in the office who has a go at them for being privileged.
Weird that Matt Ross has come up. I think we mentioned in the last episode that we recently watched Face Off again.
Yeah. I get this. Do you get the sense that Whit Stillman is criticising Matt Ross's character for saying disco sucks and for how you go at their privilege? And being like, hey, just because they're rich doesn't mean they're bad people.
He's such a weird side character who he reminded me of you. How you're always just trying to like start an argument.
That's not true. Shut up.
He's a bit of a weenie, and they're all kind of weenies, but he's King Weenie. There's something wholesome that I noted when they are throwing a dinner party, and then they go straight from a dinner party to a club / like disco. Like that would never happen now.
No, it's kind of.
You need to go somewhere for your cheap drinks.
It's quite a wholesome film.
Yeah, the tape itself actually, if I open it, has the sticker on the side of it that says theme contents, drama, disco, bad language, infrequent, strong, sex / nudity, infrequent, mild, and then violence, once, mild.
Yeah, that sounds about it.
Yeah.
I've heard this film described as a critique of the sexual revolution.
Okay.
What do you think of that statement?
I don't know, it's hard to place this film, honestly. What it's critiquing and what it's just not.
Well, it's very light as a film, but I feel like there's a lot going on with it. It's the kind of light film that you might have got in the 30s and 40s.
True.
Where there's like, it's sort of a light comedy of manners, but there's a lot of going on thematically. The sort of thing Ernst Lubitsch might have done. Oh, he's a big Wild fan.
True.
Well, there's like that. I know Chloe Sevigny's character is very awkward around sex, whereas Kate Beckinsale's very open about it.
Yeah.
And they're not sure how to sort of approach sex. So Kate Beckinsale at one point tells Chloe Sevigny that what she needs to do is to call random things sexy to give the guy a signal. And then she gets to this guy's apartment, and apparently he's obsessed with Scrooge McDuck. And she's like, oh yeah, I really find Uncle Scrooge sexy.
But there really is, it doesn't say there's a right answer, a right approach to sex.
No.
It's all just personal, isn't it?
Yeah, quite ambiguous.
Yeah.
But I do think you can definitely tell that Stillman is like kind of conservative about these things.
True, yeah.
Or more ambivalent than you might normally get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was loaded with critics for its depiction of like Manhattan wasps.
Okay.
In fact, Lena Dunham was a big fan of this film.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Although she and Chris Eigerman, who plays Des, did a Q&A with Stillman, and then he called them ingrates and traitors.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to be in his film. But apparently they've patched things up since.
Okay, well, good for them.
But at the time, I don't think this film was that big of a success.
No.
Because he was kind of on the up and up.
Disco was dead. No one cared.
Well, he was on the up and up after Metropolitan and Barcelona. I think by the time this film came around, people were kind of sick of it.
True, yeah.
But, like, I think people didn't like the sort of... Because those films kind of feel more distanced from their time and place. because they're set in different places, whereas this film is set in a very specific place about a very specific kind of people.
True.
And people don't like that kind of people, and they kind of found this film obnoxious as a result.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that maybe after the 90s, Wes Anderson kind of occupied the same territory in dealing with a similar kind of social class.
Yeah.
But his films are also much quirkier and less deep and kind of more distanced, so people find it easier.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying before, that Studio 54 film called 54 came out, I think, the same year, 98, with Mike Myers and the guy from Cruel Intentions.
Oh, Ryan Felipe.
Ryan Felipe. That film...
And that wasn't a popular film.
No, that was, I think, even less popular than this. So people just weren't ready to deal with disco, which never died, according to the film. It will rise again.
Disco sucks.
No, disco's not dead.
I like disco. I don't know why I said that.
So you wouldn't know if we're taking the disco demolition night?
No.
Okay.
Wasn't that just quite racist and homophobic, the whole thing?
They showed it in the film.
Well, I think Whit Stillman's whole thing of disco will rise again does kind of sound a bit reactionary.
Yeah. So overall thoughts?
I think it's quite a good film. I'd maybe like to rewatch it someday. I think that it's, definitely worth a rewatch. I think it's like a film that's got a lot going on. And, if you respond to it, you do, and if you don't. But it's quite an easy watch.
Yeah. It's an hour 50 maybe.
Yeah, I prefer it to anything I've seen by Noah Baumbach or Greta Gerwig. On to After Hours.
Yes, where do you want to start with it? This horrible box.
Do you not like the box? I like it. It's quite minimalist.
It's minimalist in the worst way. There's 2 images on the box, I guess.
I've just noticed, the other squished version of the poster.
Yeah, that's how it is. You'll see it if you're watching the video version of this. It's on the back as well.
It's absurd.
Yeah, but if you look, we'll get to it.
The image on the side is horrible. It looks so thin.
Yeah, not a great box.
Oh, God.
When I ordered this, it came with some other stuff, including, from the same video collection, a copy of King of Comedy.
I like the way the dear director is slightly bigger in a different colour outside the margin.
So this tape, do you want to talk about the Warner Home Video Elite Collection, Mark?
The Warner Elite Collection. In association with The Guardian for movie lovers and film buffs alike.
That's me!
It's got all your classic movie lover and film buff films. All the AFI classics.
It mentioned some directors. It was like Martin Scorsese, Woody Allen... Coppola, and then Michael Cimino. I was like, yes.
People like his one famous film that they like.
Yeah.
They don't like that other famous film they don't like.
No.
You get a shot of the Statue of Liberty holding a tape.
Yes, you do.
Good image.
So this tape was released in 92, so the film had been out for a while.
7 years.
On the back of the box, it mentions that it's written by a first-time writer, Joseph Minion.
Yes.
And you can really tell. Just in the fact that when I watched this film, I just was imagining the screenplay in my head. Just because of the way the plot is constructed, it's so meticulous that I imagine a first-time writer put a lot of effort into this, a lot of thought in the details and how to link everything together.
Well, Joseph Minion also wrote another film, which is an absurdist black comedy about a man going insane in New York, Vampire's Kiss, starring Nicolas Cage, which I think is a lot more fun.
And what are the differences?
Vampire's Kiss really leans into... I think the big difference is that in this film, Griffin Dunn, he's kind of a non-entity. He's kind of got that sly kind of smile about things. Whereas in Vampire's Kiss, Nicolas Cage is just insane for the entire film.
He's got the everyman thing going on.
Yeah.
In this film. Griffin Dunn, I mean.
Whereas Vampire's Kiss is more like sort of American Psycho before American Psycho.
Okay, right. I can see that then.
You can also tell it was written by a struggling artist, because everyone in this film is a struggling artist.
Yes, struggling in some way.
Yeah. It kind of feels like it was written by a guy who's just heard about Kafka.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm going to do all that stuff. And he puts the bit from the trial into the bit where the guy's trying to get into the club. He says, you can give me some money. Just don't want to feel like you haven't tried everything.
Yeah.
Which is a bit from the sequence in the trial. But it's a funny film.
Yeah.
Enjoyable romp.
Odd for Scorsese at this time in his career.
Yeah.
I guess he was coming off the back of King of Comedy. But for me, the whole aesthetic of this film was really his step into the 80s.
Yeah.
Because King of Comedy, it's De Niro, and it's hanging on a lot of 70s culture with the whole talk show stuff. I feel like this was really Scorsese arriving in the 80s.
Yeah, and all the characters feel quite alienated from each other.
Yeah.
In a classic 80s fashion. I think the real treat for this film was the pre-Giuliani New York.
I knew you would get to that. Yes.
Soho.
The film.
Yeah, it looks really great.
Takes place in.
It's really grimy.
Yeah, we love talking about the VHS being grimy, but for this it really is.
And we love talking about pre-Giuliani New York.
Yep. I don't think you've mentioned that in the podcast yet, your fascination with pre-Giuliani New York.
Yeah, New York before it was cleaned up and gentrified by Rudy Giuliani.
But Last Days of Disco really tries to recapture that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of those things where you can never really nail it. Unless you're Todd Phillips, of course.
Well, the great thing about pre-Giuliani New York is that it's so dirty all the time and it's so lawless and there's a real seediness to everything you see on screen. But he feels sort of more disassociated from the sort of horrible, commercialised, cleaned-up New York you get now.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly...
he famously rounded up a bunch of people and forcibly kicked them out of Times Square.
Who? Oh, Giuliani. For some reason I was thinking of Scorsese when he was shooting like a film.
He basically just cleared people out with forced evictions.
That's like a History of New York thing, though.
Yeah.
That's what they did for, like, Central Park. There were people living there, they're like, no, we want a park, and they just kicked them out.
New York really is a history of exploitation.
It really does, God. The streets of this film really reminded me of some scenes in Escape from New York. But
there's rubbish everywhere?
Yeah, and they're all empty. And it's kind of... Because there's no cars driving about, obviously, in Escape from New York. But I was looking it up, and Escape from New York was shot in Missouri. Not New York at all.
Fair enough.
Because I was like, oh, maybe they were shot in the same part of New York, but no, not at all.
I guess, as well, there's the kind of... the paranoia that Griffin Dunn, being a bit of a yuppie, feels in Soho. Because he's worried about the crime.
Yeah, out of his element.
Yeah. But it turns out that the criminals are just, like, friends of someone he knows.
Yeah, and they have the opposite way of viewing him in that he's
the interloper.
Yes, he's framed as a criminal.
Yeah. The criminal's played by Cheech and Chong, more famous for their stoner comedies at this point.
Chong's first name, of course, Thomas.
Thomas Chong.
He's credited in this film as Thomas Chong. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
And Cheech married. Everyone likes him.
Who you may know from Spy Kids.
And from Dusk Till Dawn. Friends with Robert Rodriguez.
It's an interesting cast because Scorsese is someone, he's even to this day proven to be someone who often works with the same people. And this would have been his first film in a while, his first big film in a while that didn't have De Niro in it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very Scorsese.
No, and of course you just go back to him later.
Seeing Rosanna Arquette in this New York time reminded me of Desperately Seeking Susan.
Oh, God. Yeah. Which was the same year.
Same year.
Yeah.
Her big breakout year.
It's got a weird cast. It's got a cast of people. Most of them didn't really go on to have huge careers.
No.
It's a lot of like, I don't want to say mid-range. It sounds like I'm belittling them, but like a lot of people who never really became A-listers.
No. That thing about this film seeming divorced from Scorsese's filmography, though, I guess that kind of speaks to the fact that Scorsese, he's kind of an auteur, but he'll also just do these projects just for a laugh.
There's other people like that, though, I feel.
Yeah.
Like your Linklaters and your Van Zants, I feel like often will do, they'll be off doing their own thing, and then they'll come back and do like a major studio picture.
Yeah, you're not right. Or Soderbergh.
Yes, yeah,
he's the main one. Yeah, but not like someone like David Lynch, who's never not going to make a David Lynch picture.
Yeah.
After June.
Saying that, I still feel the portrayal of New York was still very Scorsesean.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can see why Joseph Minion might have, I guess, if he was involved in choosing the director.
Or even the studio saw the script and was like, we have a man for this.
Yeah. Interestingly, did you know whose idea it was for Griffin Dunn's character to end up back at the office?
Tell me.
It was one of Scorsese's favourite filmmakers, Michael Powell.
Okay.
Of Powell and Pressburger.
How did he come to be a part of this?
I don't know, but 2 weeks after shooting ended, he married Thelma Schoonmaker, Scorsese's editor.
I didn't know that. What?
I know.
I never knew this.
What a power couple.
Fun bit of trivia for you movie buffs out there.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that feels very vitally about this is how Freudian it is.
Yeah,
There's a lot of like emasculation themes and castration going on. Like there's that image of the shark biting the man's penis on the wall. And every woman he interacts with kind of emasculates him in some way.
Yeah, he really never gets a break. With anyone, really, but
mainly women.
Yeah.
He's a very anxious person in general, and in fact this film makes up a part of Joseph Mignon's Anxiety trilogy.
Really?
Yeah, along with Vampire's Kiss, I think is the other one, and a third film which he directed called Trafficking, which as far as I know, no one has seen since premiere at Queen's Museum in 98.
Really? What do we know about that film?
It has a Wikipedia. It doesn't have a Wikipedia page, and on IMDb has 5 votes.
Okay, by the 5 people who've seen it.
I guess I know nothing about it, but Joseph Mignon's basically dropped off the map.
Did you spot Scorsese's parents in this
Yes.
film?
In the club, he has the searchlight.
No, the parents.
Oh, I guess he was in it twice.
No.
What?
Did you spot Scorsese's parents?
Oh, was Mother Scorsese in the film and Father Scorsese?
Definitely the mother, but the she was sitting. It's
who you may know from Goodfellas as Joe Pesci's mother,
or in any other Scorsese film. She's also definitely in Casino. I think that his dad is as well, as a chef, I want to say. But in an early scene, it's Griffin Dunne and Rosanna Arquette are talking in a diner about a book. It's when they first meet.
Tropic of Cancer.
Yes,
by Henry Thingy.
If you look off to the right, there's 2 other people there, and I didn't look this up, but I'm pretty sure it's his mother.
Ah, interesting.
And it's sitting across from another person who I assume is his dad.
Likes getting the family involved.
He does. He likes it. Well, as you said, he likes getting himself involved as well.
Yeah, because he's in the club scene with the searchlight.
Without a mohawk. So I'm pretty gutted he didn't commit to a mohawk for his cameo.
Do you have anything more to say about this film?
Kind of just, this feels very authentic 80s.
Yeah.
The costuming, the beige of Griffin Dunne's outfit. Also plot devices revolving around a paperweight.
Shaped like a beagle.
Yeah, stuff you wouldn't really get in it. Do people use paperweights?
No. Well, he's an office drone, so he wants a paperweight.
They're still office drones now, though.
Yeah, but they don't use paper.
If you are an office drone listening to this, write us.
Do you use paperweights?
Leave a comment.
But I've seen this film before. I didn't like it as much this time around. I feel like it's a film that impresses you with its themes.
I don't know. I like it. You rave about Mikey and Nicky, and although it's a completely different film, it hits the same spot as being one of these films that takes place over the course of a night.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Like, it's all kind of in darkness, and it's just like people running around trying to fix everything before the light comes up. Like,
yeah.
Even though it's not specifically stated, it's like you kind of have that built into your head. It's like, this has to be resolved before the sun comes up.
Yeah, I do agree. And there's definitely a similar anxiety-inducing quality to this film. When he's constantly running around, he's forgotten the keys. He's got to get those other keys back.
Fetch quest.
Yeah. And then they're all chasing him, and in the end everyone's out to get him. But no, I do like After Hours, and it's pretty funny.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Right, strap yourself in, because next we have this Brit Awards 96 tape. How do you want to approach this? Should we just go track by track?
Track by track.
Okay.
So it's a collection of music videos
Yes.
from artists that were featured at the Brit Awards 1996.
Each of these, I'll say what they were nominated for as we go through it. I'll do that.
Alright.
I think this tape was released before the awards so that people could familiarise themselves with these acts.
It was produced by Wiener World Presentation.
Oh, yeah, it was. We'll get to that. So the first track on here... Well, I'd like to mention, before we start, the top of this box says 25 hits from the cream of the Britpop crop.
It's not all Britpop.
Unfortunately, it's not.
Fortunately, it's not.
I mean, it mostly is. They try hard to make it all Britpop, but they can't. As track 1 is Wonderwall by Oasis.
Of course it is.
Who this year are up for Best Group, Best Album, Best Single, and Best Video.
This song is awful.
Go on.
This song isn't even a whole song. It's the same thing repeated.
Yeah, songs do that.
It's a minute and a half of...
Tiny Dancer does that.
Tiny Dance is at least something. Wonderwall's the laziest, just nothingest song. I hate it. maybe it was pleasant the first time you listened to it. Terrible music video as well.
Yeah, the music video is them just sitting about.
Yeah, and occasionally it'll do some music video effects like turn things negative.
Which is a thing throughout.
It's in black and white.
Oh, we'll get to that. Should I say that now? How many of these videos are in black and white?
Yeah, how many of these videos are in black and white, Road?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 videos in black and white.
It really was a thing then. I don't know if it's as prominent now, but they were really high on that in the mid-90s.
Do you like Wonderwall?
No.
Does anyone like Wonderwall?
I mean, Wonderwall's transcended good and bad, really. It's just Wonderwall. It's like I was saying, it's like, is Jingle Bells a good song? Who knows, because it's just transcended.
It's just Wonderwall.
Yeah, it's just Wonderwall. And it's like, it's bad in the sense it's like, oh, here's Wonderwall again. But it's
not even it's just tedious, isn't it? Speaking of tedious, here's Blur.
No, Blur are the superior of the top 2 Britpop groups.
No.
In this video, they're portrayed to look like soft boys next to the rugged lads that are Oasis.
This just reminds me of that bank advert that had the Universal on it.
Yeah. Did you like the references to Clockwork Orange in the video?
Yeah, the video is like a Clockwork Orange reference, and it's directed by Jonathan Glazer, who also did Massive Attack's Karma Coma, which is a Shining reference video the same year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
And his film Birth references is quite similar to Eyes Wide Shut. And Under the Skin, his film, has a homage to 2001 at the start. I think he's a Kubrick fan.
Could say that.
Good films, though. I like Jonathan Glazer.
I liked, especially in this period, there was a lot of directors who all got their starts making music videos, who went on to be directors, and I always appreciated them.
Yeah.
Like your Spike Jonze's, your Michel Gondry, who we'll mention later. I feel like a lot of people cut their teeth on music videos and went on to make, if not good, just interesting motion pictures.
This video also does that same thing they do in the Disco 2000 video, where they're talking but you can't hear them and it's just subtitled.
I have notes about another video that's going to like that later, we'll get to.
Do you like this song?
It's not top tier Blur. It's fine. It's not. It's odd because...
It's better than Country House, I'll tell you that. One of the worst songs of all time.
I guess it's just how it fell. At this point, Blur were nominated for, again, Best Group, Best Album, Best Single, and Best Video.
I think they won Best Group. They won...
No, Oasis won.
No, okay, I think Blur definitely won something. Because this was the one where they got on stage afterwards. And Oasis did a rendition of Park Life, but they changed the lyrics to Shite Life.
Yeah, that's when...
Cheeky Gallagher's.
Yeah, but that would be Oasis winning. Why would Oasis be on stage if Blur won?
Oh, yeah.
Moving on. No, it's just interesting that the Oasis songs on here are way more anthemic than the Blur song.
Yeah.
Like, no one's screaming the lyrics to the Universal. It's like, you want your park life, you want your girls and boys.
I still don't think either of them are great.
Anyway, let's...
I'll get into it more later.
Let's get to your favourites. Common People by Pop.
One of the best songs of all time.
Who at this award show were up for Best Group, Best Album, Best Single, and Best Video. So the same as the other two. So they're keeping in contention here.
I've heard that the woman in this song that it's about is now the wife of Yanis Varoufakis. That's an interesting factoid for you.
For all you...
Greek politics fans. Jarvis looks like David Tennant in this video.
No, Jarvis looks like you, Mark.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I note that down, but I knew that would be a compliment to you.
I like his weird dancing.
Yeah, just skinny, awkward white guys.
I also like the slightly off quality to this video. Like him just dancing about into sort of things that aren't there.
A lot of people in the background, it's set on like a disco style stage. A lot of people in the background are like in a short, like a GIF almost, how they'll move one way and then like move back.
Yeah.
Looped.
I think this is a really great song. It's got like great structure where it builds an intensity, and it starts with him describing her, the woman in the lyrics, with this kind of light instrumental to it, and then it becomes thicker and heavier as it goes on, and then he starts ranting by the end, and it builds that final verse line of because you think that poor is cool. That's kind of like a definitive end of the song before the coda.
Mm-hmm.
Really good song.
Cool.
This was the year that Jarvis Cocker mooned Michael Jackson.
No, he didn't, no. According to the Wikipedia page, he was clothed.
But he did...
He did shake his bottom at Michael Jackson.
And I think he made a fart motion.
Possibly.
He was offended because Michael Jackson was doing Earth Song, and he had his arms outstretched, and Jarvis felt that he was making himself out to be Christ. And Jarvis was, I think, taken away, and he was gonna be... I don't know if he was taken to court, but he could have been for public indecency.
Is there not more people involved in this story?
Yes.
Because I remember
Jarvis's lawyer would have been Bob Mortimer.
That's it, because I remember you told me this story years ago, and I'd never heard about it, and then you were telling me it, and it was just like Mad Libs, the names you were throwing in there.
Bob Mortimer apparently used to be a lawyer. I was going to represent Jarvis Cocker when he was being sued by Michael Jackson.
Imagine those courtroom sketches. So then we had another flash in the Britpop pan.
Another advert song.
Supergrass. You only know these songs from adverts. It's bizarre. This, to me, is not iconic, but like a well-known video.
I didn't recognise it.
The song is All Right by Supergrass, who in this year were up for the awards Best Newcomer and Best Video. So other people thought it was a good video.
This song and this video is very British Invasion.
I'm stealing my notes.
But it's kind of like divorced from the context of the British Invasion, so it kind of just comes across as lame and tepid. It's like the Patsy and Adina of music.
Reference to last episode there. Yeah. Episode 3 in the archives. It's harmless.
Just an advert song to me.
Just proving that you just watch too much TV. And you only associate things
in the late 2000s, the
TV.
peak of British TV.
Yeah, it really was.
Right, Lightning Seeds.
Yes. Look at You by Lightning Seeds.
It's no Patil and Skinner with Lightning Seeds.
Nominated for Best Group.
I hear it's coming home.
No, you're misguided there, Mark.
Oh, okay. It is coming home, though.
No.
I have no opinions about this song.
It was weird. They were playing on a stage in the video to a bunch of uninterested fans. Do you want to get to Gangster's Paradise?
Another Britpop classic.
Yep. Cream of the Britpop Crop Coolio, nominated for Best Group. No, that's Lightning Seeds. Best International Male.
There you go.
Getting some international flavour in this.
Video from Dangerous Minds, the film.
Yes.
Featuring Michelle Pfeiffer. I believe this video was directed by Anton Fuqua. I like Gangster's Paradise.
Interesting you didn't call this an advert song, as it was famously in the awful trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog film.
I was into this song before that, though.
How do you know Gangster's Paradise?
I don't know. It's just one of those songs, isn't it?
It was
around.
According to this box, it was #1 in the UK.
It's like a crossover rap hit, isn't it?
Yeah, as I said, it's like Coolio, despite having one song, is a name that mums know.
I know it's a bit cringe, but I think it's good. Everything But the Girl.
Next we have Everything But the Girl with Missing, nominated for Best Single.
Good song, like that house beat. Apparently this was a remix by Todd Terry. The original came out 2 years earlier.
So how was that on the album that came out this year? Is that how it was eligible?
No, I think this was a single. They're a band who, like Pulp, started out in the early 80s, but really came into their own in the 90s. This isn't the last time we'll see Tracy Thorn on this list.
Make a note, audience.
Radiohead, High and Dry.
Just like to note that there was a big radiator in the video for Missing.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Radiohead, he wanted to talk about.
Radiohead, High and Dry, an incredibly bland song, which just goes to show that...
Incredibly bland video.
Yeah, it really goes to show that Benz is the Radiohead album of Coldplay fans. And this was definitely a big influence on Coldplay and Travis and Keane and all those types.
The video, though, I feel like they had, like, interesting videos even at this time.
Yeah, this is just awful.
Like, do you know the video for, I think it's Just?
Yeah.
Where it's like the guy's just lying on the ground?
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking of earlier when you were talking about videos where it's talking but you can't hear and it's subtitled.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to that. But this is just, they're just playing in, like, a desert bit.
Yeah.
With just cameras around them.
Well, Tom York apparently said the label pressured him to release this song and that he thinks it's very bad. So I guess it's just another Creep for him. But Creep's good. This is awful. This song would later be covered by insipid jazz pop singer Jamie Cullum.
Cool. This video, I don't really think of Radiohead as a band, and this video aggressively wants them to look like a band.
Yeah, it wants
like
them
a marketable bunch of fellows.
It wants them to be Travis.
Yeah. Radiohead, by the way, nominated for Best Group, Best Album, and Best Video.
There you go.
For this, I assume. It just goes to show that these award shows are all nonsense.
Yeah.
As much as we have fun here joking at them, they're all just like rubbish.
Yeah. I think these songs get better as we go on.
Okay, well, moving on to Alanis Morissette.
I take it back.
Hand in My Pocket, nominated for Best International Female and Best International Newcomer.
Another black and white video with slow motion.
It wasn't a song I recognised, honestly. I'm not overly familiar with Alanis Morissette, but it wasn't ironic, and it wasn't that other one.
People like Ladybird. It was in that. This version censors the swearing, apparently.
Does it? What was the swear?
I don't know. I note that Wikipedia has this genre as post-rock. No. I note that Wikipedia has this genre...
Post-rock?
I note that Wikipedia has this genre as pop-rock / post-grunge.
Like Nickelback.
Anyway.
There's a thing in this video that was popular in other videos, if I remember right, in the 90s, where you'll have a person positioned in the middle of the frame while things zoom by in the foreground and background.
Yeah.
And maybe in another Alanis Morissette video, that's maybe where I know it from, but it definitely seemed familiar as a thing I'd seen in other videos of the period. Edwyn Collins.
Great song, Girl Like You. Edwyn Collins, formerly of Orange Juice, Scottish musician.
This was his first hit since leaving Orange Juice, allegedly. Nominated for Best Male and Best Video.
I think it's his only hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only song of his that I know.
But it's really good.
Yeah, but it's when you've got a hit like this in your hand, why bother making other music?
Yeah. Paul Cook of the Sex Pistols plays vibraphone on this song.
Interesting.
He's the one doing the boom, 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 boom.
Clink, 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 clink.
Never knew a girl like you before. I really like that muted, distorted guitar.
The wah wah one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The effects on the video are quite old-fashioned, but I think it kind of works in the song's favour.
I mentioned that the video itself reminded me of like a opening of a Bond film.
I can see that.
You know when they've got like the theme playing and they always have the opening credits and there'll be some sort of visual... Yeah, like there's just effects going on the screen.
Yeah.
It made me think of that.
I think the editing's really good. It's very propulsive.
Also,
very on the beat.
Also the way that people dance in this video is very like 60s Bond.
Yeah.
There's also spooky skeleton marionettes, which brings me to the Björk video, which also had spooky skeletons.
Yes. This is a video by Michel Gondry.
Yes.
Who directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You can tell it was directed by someone who's well versed in cinema as well, because it had it reminded me of a 1920s French Impressionist film with all the fades. Apparently he was very influenced by Georges Méliès.
Yeah. Also in that, it made me think of those kind of films like Trip to the Moon in its use of stop motion.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff growing out of the ground, which I think there's stuff growing out of the ground in Trip to the Moon as well.
Yeah.
If not, the whole rocket stuff's all stop motion anyway.
And I think those effects really suit the ethereal quality of Björk's voice.
Best International Female nominee, Björk. I'm going to keep mentioning these, Mark. I've started, so I'll finish.
It's got that sort of impressionistic imagery that when it's mixed with the sort of the instrumental, those very sort of underlying strings, gives it kind of a grand quality, but also kind of fairy tale feeling.
Yeah, without being in your face.
Yeah. I think the song is about a feral child. It's part of a trilogy of songs that Björk made. She co-wrote it with an Icelandic poet called Sjón. I think the other two videos are quite similar.
What songs are they?
It's Hyper Ballad and one of the other ones.
Oh, I know the video for Hyper Ballad.
Apparently MTV didn't give this video much support.
Weird that it ended up on here then.
Yeah, despite being really well acclaimed.
Because if she's just nominated for Best International Female, then they really could have picked any song of hers to put on this.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Army of Me video is more well known, which is... Maybe it came out after this, I'm not sure, but I think it was the lead single off of...
Maybe it just flowed
Post. Yeah, possibly.
I think Post, my favourite Björk album.
One of your favourites next, Tricky.
Love Tricky. Much like Björk, big trip-hop guy, Tricky. He's like the guy who kind of invented trip-hop. Yeah.
Interestingly nominated for Best Dance Act and Best Newcomer.
Okay. I guess he was best solo newcomer. He's been around with Massive Attack before.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how this song works outside the context of the album, Max Inquay, because that's a very complete feeling album to me. I think the video style really conveys this sort of melancholic, hauntological quality to his music.
Mm-hmm. It's very low res.
Yeah. The songs co-perform with Alison Goldfrapp, but the woman in the video looks like Martina Topley-Bird, who's on most of the album, so I wasn't sure about that.
Maybe she just wasn't available for shooting or something.
Yeah. Did you like this video? It's like all blue, but there's like that red light going around, then you got her red dress.
Yeah, it almost looked like, with the light on the screen, it looked like it was someone shooting a screen.
Mm.
You know when there's a screen and you see the reflection of a light in the screen? It almost looked like there was a light in a room as they were filming a screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think...
It's hard to convey unless you've seen the video, but yeah.
Well, this song has a very specific mid-90s feeling that I love. It's the concern for the coming millennium. A kind of anxiety and tension in that period that you get in films like Strange Days. The feeling that it's kind of the end times and sort of people are excited for the millennium, but some people are going to get left behind. And there's a lot of sort of industrial alienation going on. And you also see in this whole album, 9 Inch Nails' Downward Spiral gets a part of it, and David Bowie's Outside album. And Bowie was a big Tricky fan, I know. It's all kind of about alienation.
Bowie won an award at this show.
Yes, for outstanding contribution to music. Not nominated for Outside, though, even though it's his best album, in my opinion. It's all about, like, this mid-90s thing, it's all about the way digitization was making life less tangible, and people were feeling alienated from things, and I guess the sort of end of history thing, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, they're kind of feeling that late capitalism had become sort of entrenched.
You really thought about this.
It's a thing that interests me. I mean, I think it got started because Outside's my favourite album, and spiraled out from there. Downward spiraled.
Interesting, because there's no Bowie videos on this, but you still managed to get him in there, Mark.
He was featured at the awards show. He did Hello Spaceboy there. Yeah. Good song.
It's a shame his music isn't good enough to get him on this tape.
Why don't you go fuck yourself, bro?
Thanks, Mark. The next track is Massive Attack, Protection.
Yeah, another Gondry.
They were also up for Best Dance Act.
And also featuring Tracy Thorn again.
This may have been my favourite of the lot.
Because it was all shot in one take, in a big pre-designed house. Like the hollow house from The Ladies' Man.
Yes. It's one of those concepts that you come up with where you may think, oh, this wouldn't work as a film. There's not enough to this, but for a music video, it's perfect.
Yeah.
For a music video, it's high concept, but for a film, it's not. It's like low concept. You really hit the sweet spot.
Yeah. And it plays into the kind of, again, classic trip-hop themes of the song. Beautiful vocals, dark, chilled-out beats, and a very melancholic tone.
Interestingly, a lot of these music videos, we said before that a lot of them were black and white. The ones that weren't, a lot of them were really vibrant.
Yeah.
Like a lot of colour in this one. I'm thinking, like the ones we've mentioned, Common People was also quite colourful.
I think people have commented about the 90s in that sense. It was either black and white and dark and depressing and edgy, or day glow and over the top.
Yeah, depends on which way you kind of view it.
So you got two options.
And we get best of both worlds watching this.
By this point, I'd started to think about what a massive contrast Britpop and trip-hop were. Because they both began in Britain, but one was predominantly by suburban white kids and very male, and it was all about lads culture and pissing about. And one was much more diverse, and it began in like the urban parts of Bristol.
Hold on, let me guess which one is which.
And trip-hop tended to have like female vocalists and racially diverse members. Tricky had some queer imagery on the back of his album. He was wearing a dress and Martina Topley-Bird was wearing a suit. It was overall as well much more forward-thinking musically compared to like the 60s revivalism of Britpop. And it was concerned with genuine stuff like social deprivation and alienation. Whereas when someone like Blur tried to do like the socially conscious stuff, it just felt like they were sort of showing off for the critics and being like, look at me, I'm making a social comment. Britpop was obviously like a reaction against the angst of grunge. But I think trip-hop was kind of distinct from both of that.
I mean, Britpop kind of came out of that whole baggy scene, though.
Yeah, that as well. But I'm not going to go so far as to say Britpop is reactionary and trip-hop is progressive. But people have made that clear. What I'm saying is that Britpop is garbage.
But this tape doesn't say the cream of the trip-hop crop. I don't know why I'm taking the side of Britpop in this. I really like both genres. Yes. Someone who is a part of neither genre is Sharon Nelson with Rough with the Smooth, who was nominated for Best Female. British female, is.
Yeah.
This video featured a lot of montages of New York. during the day, which is something that we don't see a lot of in the other two films.
Yeah. I had no opinion on this song.
Okay, Left Field.
Yeah, with After Left. Good techno song.
Afro Left.
After Left.
No?
Afterlife?
Afro Left.
Afro Left.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Oh.
Best Dance Act nominee.
This, like, what sounds like sped up African vocals, but apparently it's just gibberish.
Yeah. It's another black and white video.
Yeah.
It's filled with a lot of film grain.
Yeah,
And a lot of mirrored images and Rorschachs.
It reminded me of the video to Your Woman by White Town, because that's also got a lot of these grainy, old-fashioned images. And samples, of course.
Yeah. God, what are we? What are we? We are garbage, just like the next band. It's garbage with queer.
With garbage.
Interesting.
Another black and white video shot in a semi-documentary style in the street.
But it's better, this one. I feel like it's got a narrative to it.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Garbage were nominated for Best International Newcomer.
They're from Scotland.
Partially. But you know, with us, we claim everyone as our own.
Yeah. No, they're British. Just like Edwin Collins.
And Andy Murray.
Yeah.
Classic case.
Plot of this song is that the cameraman is following Shirley Manson around and the band kidnap and tie him up. Fun stuff.
Yeah. Next is PJ Harvey with Down by the Water.
Great song as well. The lead single from
Best female. Sorry.
The lead single from To Bring You My Love. It's about a woman who drowns her baby.
Nice.
PG spends most of the video underwater wearing a red dress, and it's kind of very ethereal. It's a good video, it's just quite, minimal. Again, bright colours.
Yes.
The thing of, like, bright colours against, like, a not bright background.
Oh, the next one has bright colours and a bright background. It's Green Day's Basket Case.
Awful.
The video or the song?
Everything.
Disagree.
I despise Green Day. It's no wonder you like this video, because it looks like Cat in the Hat, one of your favourite films.
It does.
Billy Joe Armstrong is a whiny rodent.
Green Day at this point were newcomers.
Really?
Yes, best newcomers. Their first album, I think, was 94. 94, which makes sense. They just broken in over here. I don't know why you hate this song so much.
I just despise Green Day. I hate this video and I hate Billy Joe Armstrong.
This is some of the
whiny voice.
This is some of the good Green Day. Like, there's awful
There's
Green
not
Day.
any good Green Day.
Elastica with Stutter.
Yeah.
Short song.
Just a video of the band.
Just a static camera that zooms in and out.
It zooms in on the chorus.
It zooms in a lot on the drummer as well. The only male in the group.
This song was originally released in 93, but got re-released for the album release.
Which is funny because they were also nominated for Best Newcomer.
Apparently this isn't even the main video, because the main video was shot on the streets of San Francisco, which this song definitely was not.
Yeah, maybe at this point they realised that they were cramming a lot onto this tape and they tried to do people like us who would be reviewing it in 24 years a favour by keeping a short one in there for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Elastica.
Carrying on, we have Kung Fu by Ash.
What the hell was this?
It opens with a sample of something that sounds like it would be on a Wu-Tang release.
Well, it was a sample from Sammo Hung's film's Close Encounters of the Spooky Kind.
This video is incredibly red for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's on here. The band was nominated for... Oh! So this wasn't nominated for anything, but the producer, Owen Morris, was nominated for Best Producer.
Okay.
So it made its way onto here somehow.
Because there was a sample on it?
I guess, maybe?
This song references Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi is not a kung fu guy.
Yeah,
it's karate.
It's not great. It's not very culturally sensitive either.
This song was used in the advertising and bloopers for Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, I do like Rumble in the Bronx.
And it does reference Jackie Chan in the lyrics.
Yeah. So next is Cast, who were nominated for Best Newcomer.
Yeah, with their song All Right.
Not to be confused with Supergrass's All Right, which is the superior All Right.
As far as I know, this band was a follow-up to The Laws.
Yes, there's a note here on the inside that the guitarist, I want to say... Yes, the guitarist John Powers was in The Laws, who had been nominated for Best Newcomer in 91.
Apparently the name of their band comes from the last word featured on the last Laws album.
That's nice.
Apparently Noel Gallagher says that watching this band live is like a religious experience. Did you feel any of that watching this
no,
video?
But I was watching an old VHS tape. The video is very orange, and the album is called All Orange, so I guess that was a thing there.
Yeah, this song is very much just peak Britpop.
Do you know it's not peak Britpop?
What's that?
Black Grape with Reverend Black Grape. This is something wholly of its own. Shaun Ryder dancing about with Playboy bunnies.
Dressed as a preacher?
Yes. While Bez seemingly plays the harmonica.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet money that Bez doesn't know how to play a harmonica, and he was just miming.
Bez wearing like a Western duster jacket.
Yes. We do get some good Bez dancing though.
Yeah, it kind of just sounds like weird Happy Mondays. I liked it a bit, I think.
I mean, that's what Black Grape is.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this video and in this song. It's so thick musically.
Yeah. Black Grape were nominated for Best Newcomer again. Best Newcomer is the most rubbish category, the most just nothing category, apparently.
Man who's been around since 87?
Speaking of being around for a while, next we have Paul Weller with The Changing Man, who was nominated for, and I believe won Best Male, while also being nominated for Best Album.
How? This is such a nothing blues revival song.
I don't know, it's weird how strong the Paul Weller brand was in 96.
Some would say his career should have ended in 1983. I'm a big fan of the Jam. I think Style Council is garbage. I think this is fine. He's like got a lot of mod imagery in this.
Yeah.
The blue, white and red.
Mm-hmm. Our second to last track is a charity single, right?
Yeah.
By who?
The Smoking Mojo Filters.
With a cover of Come Together.
Yeah, and the name comes from a lyric from Come Together.
The video for this is just a bunch of your favourite musicians of the time. A lot of people who are featured elsewhere on this tape. Just horsing about, having a good time for the kids.
Yeah, it was from War Child. I think raising money for kids in Bosnia.
There's not much to say about it. It's a cover of Come Together. I think it's shot on Abbey Road.
Yeah, with Paul Weller, Noel Gallagher, Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney rocking a great mullet in this video, though. I'll give him that much.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, this song was nominated for nothing. It's just on here, apparently. Okay.
Just for the charity, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's for the kids.
And we finished this tape with an Oasis sandwich, with them closing with a Roll With It.
Britpop.
Britpop. 25 hits on the cream of the Britpop crop. I feel like they should have flipped the placement of these two songs. It really should have opened with Roll With It and closed with Wonderwall.
Yeah.
Wonderwall's like the kind of end of the night anthem.
People aren't going to want to fast forward through this to get to Wonderwall, are they? I guess they keep the videotape sort of on that one bit.
Or just rewind just to get back to the start of the tracks they like.
Yeah.
That would be a weird way of listening to music back in the day, but I'm sure people did it.
Definitely.
People who owned copies of this tape would just put it on so they could hear their favourite Oasis songs. This is great. Technically you get 3 if you're a big Noel fan.
Who isn't? Liam. What do you think of it overall?
I don't know. I guess it's a weird one. It really fits in this novelty category we've got. Because who's the audience for this?
Us.
Yeah, us? Really? Because it's for people who are just discovering music in the year 1996?
I guess.
Like, who is a huge fan of all of this?
Look, you and I will often just stay up watching Top of the Pops on YouTube.
Yes,
late
yes.
the night commenting on it.
I don't know, this is different because that's stuff that we can just throw on. This is something you have to go out and purchase if you're...
Yeah.
I guess it's for the people. It's for those kind of people who want to have all their bases covered going into an award show, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Or maybe just for, people who like music, just something to stick on.
Yeah, I mean, but surely they'd have MTV.
I guess so.
Maybe those who didn't have MTV.
I imagine a lot of people at this time only had 5 channels.
We can thank Ian A. Wiener for this compilation.
You know what?
Ian A. Wiener of Wiener World.
He sure is.
You noted that Ian A. Wiener is very close to I Am A. Wiener.
Yes, it is quite close to...
God, this is probably our longest episode ever. And it shows because we're losing it.
Thanks, Mr. Wiener.
Thank you, Mr. Wiener.
And thank you to Wiener World. Ian A. Wiener knows what he's doing. You don't
he does.
call your
I enjoyed
production
this.
company Wiener World without knowing what you're getting into.
It's going to stick in my mind. I'll remember
I'll
Wiener
never
World.
forget Ian A. Wiener.
Right. Next week's tapes.
Next week's tapes. Go and get them.
Let's go and do that. Do you want to go first this week, Mark?
Yeah, sure. So this week, Rowan, I've got John Ford film, the first in his Cavalry trilogy, Fort Apache, starring John Wayne and Henry Fonda.
Good stuff.
Looking forward to it.
Have you mentioned on the podcast that you're currently really into John Ford?
I don't think so. It reached its peak like 2 weeks ago.
Everyone's about to find out.
When you kept telling me stop watching John Ford films.
Because you became addicted to watching John Ford films.
And reading about John Ford films, wondering why I wasn't getting John Ford films.
Gonna start up again. Right, okay, I'll show you what I've got.
Fun stuff. Let's have a look. This is a film I mean to watch. They Shoot Horses, Don't They? By Sidney Pollack.
Yes, I've been meaning to watch it for ages.
Cool. Yeah, it's about
dancing.
The 30s. Susanna York and Jane Fonda.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
And
right,
now,
the hat.
Get more extreme with that each week.
I'm now reaching into the hat. I'm now picking the number out of the hat. And it is... Oh dear. It's number 13. Yeah. So, Rowan, what you got for me? Number 13, have I been unlucky?
This might be the most boomer episode that we ever do.
Good stuff. Oh, God. What are you doing to me?
Read it out.
1947, A Year to Remember. History in Motion. On the cover is a picture of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip before they were married, I guess. Because I guess that must have been their marriage. And there's Al Capone and Laurel and Hardy. And the USA new radar speed trap. How long is it?
I bet you can't wait to hear about this next week.
I like history.
Oh, God.
Oh, 60 minutes. I can handle 16 minutes.
16 minutes isn't awful.
Of probably mediocre history. It's going to be like nostalgia.
That's probably our longest one yet. I hope you enjoyed all this extra content.
I know I did.
Any other closing words, Mark?
I'm not optimistic about next week.
Neither am I. So stay tuned for... stay tuned for two unhappy boys.
Bye now.
Goodbye.